What's happening? Part of my presence YouTube channel. I wanna talk about something that's going on right now. There's always been a push to get Kevin Samuels the fuck out of here, but now someone has come up with an audio clip of Kevin Samuels saying that black women are on the opposite side of the spectrum when it comes to beauty, and he's referring to facial symmetry. Now, this statement that Kevin Samuels made occurred in 2018 on another person's show. I believe the person's show was Obsidian. Right? Now, a couple of things I want to say about this, okay? Because this is my opinion on this. A lot of people really want to get Kevin Samuels the fuck out of here, right? They want to cancel him. They want to dig up all kind of goofy photos that they have of him where he looked like a fool, where he looks like a loser or a nerd, where he looks gay, all types of things that they're trying to do. They're really trying to get him out of here. Now, the one thing that I'm realizing about all of this when it comes to cancel culture is that if you're going to dig up anybody's past, look for something that they said that was questionable, scrutinize their actions, their past actions, you are going to find something that you can use against them. Something that contradicts who they are today. Something that is a complete 180 for what they believe in today. But I don't know if people realize that as long as you have breath in your lungs, as long as you wake up the next day, as long as you're here tomorrow, you have a chance to correct your wrongs, to do better, to improve your life, to change your outlook and perspective. And if we don't give people a chance to do that, and we go digging into people's past to expose how they were or how they thought, then what are you really saying about evolution? What are you really saying about learning, being exposed to different things, changing, becoming a different person? You know, I was watching the show The Godfather of Harlem. Really good show, right? About Bumpy Johnson and his rise within Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance. And Malcolm X is an important figure in the show as well too. So there's a scene in one of the episodes where Cassius Clay decides to visit Malcolm X in one of his offices, and there's a sign on the door that reads, "To have once been a criminal is no disgrace. To remain a criminal is the disgrace." And pretty much what that means is that, yes, people could falter. People could live lives in ignorance, not knowing right from wrong, not knowing how they should behave, act, and speak. But once they learn, once they know better, once they have the ability to do better, once they are no longer ignorant to the world around them, to their surroundings, then the question becomes, will you remain the same person? Will you evolve? Will you become better? And if you don't, if you remain the same person, that is a disgrace. That is when you have no excuse. That is when you get no bly from me. So, while people want to discredit Kevin Samuels and they want to get him out of here, he should answer that question about those comments that he made and what he meant by that. Clarify that. And make his stance known, how he really feels about black women internally. How does he feel about them? Because it's interesting, because on his show, he's complimented many black women. He's called many black women beautiful.
There has to be something in between. There has to be something in between being a ghetto or a stripper and expressing yourself.
Right. And that's
Claire Huxtable, go back. We have black women used to be the standard of beauty. But now you're the standard of what? WAP? Ratchet? That is because even the college-educated employed of you look like you're going to the strip club.
The point I'm making here is that he's already made claims that he loves and appreciates the beauty of black women on his show. What his show seems to be focusing on is not black women's beauty, but more so women's mindset on how they select their partners. And in particular, he does focus on black women because he is speaking to black people. That's the bottom line. He's speaking to black people. So he's speaking to black women. And it doesn't seem like black women take kindly into that. And I can understand why, because it seems like they're being singled out. But again, if you do the research on Kevin Samuels, he has spoken this harshly towards black men as well too. Now, as I said before in the previous video that I put out about Kevin Samuels, as long as you keep calling into his show, you're going to continue placing this guy into positions where he's going to have a wide audience. So you got to ask yourself, if you disagree with his message, if you disagree with what he stands for and what you think he is, or you believe that he is an agent, then I suggest that you get on the black women who are calling into his show. Not the ones who are calling into his show praising him and agreeing with him, but call into the black women that are arguing with him, that are being combative, that are saying they don't want to smile when they see a black man. The reason why I say that is because those are the women that are giving him and others the necessary fuel to keep seeing negative things about the behavior of the modern woman, in particular black women. So this is where I think it's a disconnect, because what really needs to be done, and this is what Kevin Samuels actually agrees with, and this is what his message is, at least to me, this is what his message is: black women need to be held accountable by other black women. They do. I think it's time that we stop highlighting behavior that is not conducive of a proper relationship between a black man and a black woman. I think it's time that we stop promoting lyrics by City Girls and Cardi B that don't represent black women at all, that don't represent the unity that black men and black women used to have. We need to change who we idolize and who we feel is moving in the right direction in life. Because it's not all about money. It's not all about businesses. It's not all about being independent. It's really about family. Because if you have no family, then all your success, all the money that you attain, where does it go after you die? Who are you doing this for? If you're not doing this for your children, your next generation. And how can you build generational wealth if you don't have children? If you don't have a family? So at the end of the day, Kevin Samuels must be held accountable for what he says. But also, black women have to be held accountable as well too. Stop going on to his show. Stop fueling his rise. Stop allowing yourself to be put on the pedestal. Sorry, the wrong word, not pedestal, but put in the spotlight to highlight bad behavior of those women, where he could go and turn around and use those clips and put it up for people to see and to consume, to think that this is how black women behave and believe and operate. Because if it's not true, if it's not how black women behave, if it's not how black women speak, if it's not how black women relate to black men, then I think it's about time that we stop allowing ourselves to be displayed in this fashion. I think it's time for us to come together, have cordial conversations, have respectful conversations, not attack one another. Because one thing I know about Kevin Samuels is that if you go on a show and you're respectful and you're reasonable and you're willing to have a dialogue where it's give and take, you listen, you respond, you wait to speak, you have respect for the fact that it is his show that you're calling into, he does have reasonable conversations with women, black women. And at the end of that conversation, there's an understanding. And I think that should be promoted. That should be highlighted. We need to have these conversations. We need to have an open forum where we can speak to each other without being canceled, without being reprimanded. Because I can tell you, there's a lot of black men who are in high positions that don't want to speak plainly or honestly about relations with their own women. I think that's a sad thing. And I think it is done because they don't want to give up their fan base. They don't want to lose sponsorships or money. It's a business move. It's a practical move. But in the sense of family and culture, it's not good for us. It's not good to be silent when you know that there's a problem, you know that there's something wrong, you know something should be called out, but you refuse to do it because you do not want to lose money. Because money should never be the objective. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. So let's have these discussions. If you don't like Kevin Samuels, put him aside. Don't call his show. Who do you want to prop up as a person where people could go on and have these conversations where we could now relate to one another and now have some type of open forum? We could have some type of discourse. Who do you want to use? Who do you want to prop up? Because don't say Cynthia G. Don't say Nyla Says. Be honest. Who do you want it to be? Isla Van Zandt is moving away from y'all because even she says black women are out of order. There's a reason why she says that. She's stepping away from everybody. And she said it herself. As long as there's money to be made from the disconnect between black men and black women, as long as there's money to be made for promoting black women being independent, being spicy, being quick to cuss somebody out, they're going to keep promoting that. And as long as you succumb to that type of social construct as far as what a black woman is supposed to be and what a black woman represents, you're going to get fooled in a position where you think that you have to be bitter, that you think you have to be unruly, that you think you have to be in your masculine. I think it's time we stop getting tricked. I think it's time for black men and black women to come together in one household and start having a dialogue that's respectable, that we all can sit down and agree. Because as long as there's one family, one household, one mortgage or one rent, one set of furniture, we're already winning. Because that's two incomes in one household. You've now put yourself out of poverty into middle class automatically, just like that. You now have a support system. You have a man and woman who can now feed off each other, work together, and have a team. But none of that could happen if we're at odds. So, you tell me, what is it that you want to do? You want to get him out of here? Get him out of here. But the problem still remains. So what are we going to do about it? That's all I got to say about this situation. If you want to cancel Kevin Samuels, go ahead and cancel him. But the problem remains. Is that what you want? Is that the solution? continuing the problem. How can that be a solution for you? That doesn't make any sense. So again, that's my opinion on this whole Kevin Samuels scandal and the audio that's making its rounds. Y'all do what you want to do. At the end of the day, if there's not going to be any peace between black women and black men, then what are we doing? If we're not going to have any conversations amongst each other, if we're not going to try to work things out, then what are we really saying? Are we going to be separate races? Does that make any sense? Anyways, part of my presence. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Whatever you want to do, man. Peace.